I think so often what people misunderstand about boundaries is that the point of setting them is not to change other people's behavior or convince them to value different things. It's to advocate for yourself, regardless of how they respond. Molweni Zithandwa. My name is Mihlali. Oh, Inkosazana Mayongo, and I am absolutely excited to be here. If you are new here, welcome. welcome. And if you're a returning Zithandwa, welcome. I am absolutely excited to have you here. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, especially if you're not already subscribed. What are you waiting for? Just subscribe. Oh, subscribe now. As you can already tell from the title of the video, from the thumbnail, today we are talking about boundaries, how to set boundaries, and how to stop being a people pleaser. A few weeks ago, I saw a TikTok video, and this TikTok video said something along the lines of, if you are a people pleaser as an adult, then you are a obedient child. And I was just like, eh, can you be more real? I could definitely relate. However, I was in denial. I was in denial. But anyway, I feel like somebody must come and Batini, release me from these shackles, because I feel like I am a obedient adult as well. Like, how can I free myself? But anyways, we'll be delving a little bit into that as well today. I could definitely relate to that video on TikTok, but I was in denial because in my head, people pleasing has always been I always thought it meant accepting or falling into peer pressure. Like when your peers pressurize you to do things, you can easily just do them. It meant gullibility to me, and those are things that I'm not necessarily gullible. I don't fall into peer pressure. Like, if I don't want to do something, I ain't gonna do it. That's not in the sense of people pleasing, but in the sense of peer pressure. Like, you can't force me to drink alcohol or smoke weed if I don't want to. But I have come to the realization that, or rather, my newfound revelation is that people pleasing actually is a lack of setting boundaries, a lack of boundaries, and the inability to set clear and precise boundaries. That is what I found. People pleasing is trying to be in control of other people's emotions and their emotional reactions to situations. It is being afraid to hurt people, being afraid to make them upset. You always want to keep the peace. You want to be the most understanding in the room. You want to, you don't want to step on anybody's toes. You don't want to, that is what people pleasing is. Because we so deeply seek this, like we so deeply seek to keep the peace and not to hurt anybody or to disappoint anybody, we end up being the ones who suffer. We end up being the ones who are hurt, because now we are compromising ourselves for the sake of other people. This has nothing to do with selflessness, but it has everything to do with now you being hurt because you are trying not to hurt other people. And that is also where the lack of boundaries, the commencement of the lack of boundaries starts, because now, because you don't want to hurt people, because you don't want to disappoint people, you're afraid to say no. That is where you can't set clear boundaries and you can't say no. Most of us have never even thought about what our boundaries are. Like, we have never even thought what boundaries we want to set, what we don't like, what we dislike. And that opens room for people crossing lines and crossing boundaries in our lives. They do as they please. They come in and out as they please in our lives. And we can't even stop them because we ourselves are not aware what our boundaries are. We only realize after the boundary has been crossed that, oops, a boundary has been crossed. Now, because you feel uncomfortable or feel a certain way, now you realize that maybe that person was not supposed to do that. And you can't even openly say that, I didn't like that, because you are so afraid to hurt the other person's feeling. For example, I'm a person who I share a lot with my friends and people who are close to me. I'm a very open person. And I shared with one of my friends something that happened in my life that didn't treat me well. So I'm also the kind of person that if something happens, I'm gonna laugh about it. Like, nah, I take all my problems as jokes, not necessarily jokes, but I laugh about them. I take everything seriously, but at some point I laugh about it. So this specific thing, because my friend is used to us making jokes about situations, naturally he does that. But this specific thing doesn't sit well with me now. So he's joked about it a couple of times and it really made me feel not nice. But I didn't have a way of telling him that I don't appreciate that he makes a joke about this thing. And it was like, yo, I don't know how to explain, but it made me feel so awful every time he made a joke about it. So in this moment, we're chilling and he makes a joke about it naturally, you know? And I had like a 5-second war in my mind where I was like, do I tell him? Don't tell him. Do I tell him? Because now I was actively trying to stop being a people pleaser and working on my boundary setting. And then he says to me, oh, and then I say to him after like that 5 minutes where I decide, okay, 5 second where I decide, okay, let me just say it. So I say to him, hey man, I don't appreciate it when you joke about this thing because it really doesn't sit well with me. And when you joke about it, it makes me feel some type of way. I really don't appreciate it. And then he was like, oh, okay. I think he said sorry, but I really don't remember. And in that moment, my heart sank. Like I felt my heart go boo. And I was so like sad because I felt like I hurt him by expressing how I feel. Though he didn't say that, he was fine afterwards and we moved on. We were fine. We started talking about other things and it was a nice chill session. But me, I was carrying it heavy. Only after a few days, I realized how free I got. It set me free as well. Because now I know I have expressed that I don't appreciate it, which means he will not joke about it again. And that is settled, like that is gone. So, setting boundaries and trying to set boundaries is very uncomfortable, but it is something that needs to be done. Now we're going to move on to the steps on how you too, just like me, can actively work on setting boundaries and how to stop being a people pleaser, because these two things work hand in hand. The moment you set your boundaries, automatically you stop being a people pleaser. Now, the first step that I applied for myself was self-awareness. I've always felt like I knew myself, but in terms of setting boundaries, I never was able to do that. So I had to have an even heightened level of self-awareness. I was supposed to find out what my boundaries are, what don't I like, what do I like, and the first step is finding out who you are and setting those boundaries for yourself, because if you cannot decide what your boundaries are, then somebody else will. Other people will decide what your boundaries are for you. Number 2, set your boundaries clearly and assertively. And by assertive, I don't mean that you should be aggressive. No, it means that you should be open and honest and communicate your boundaries openly and honestly, because now people around you won't know that these are your boundaries if you don't tell them. And there will be people who will try you. People will try you and see, after you have told them that this is my boundary and I don't appreciate this, they will try to overstep. And if you are not assertive about repeating and communicating that I said I don't like this, then it's useless. This activity is useless. They will try and try and try and overstep and overstep and overstep. So you need to be assertive and say your no must be your no, not a maybe, not a no. It must be a no, and you must know what your boundaries are, and they must not be inconsistent. You must not change today, change, be clear about your boundaries and openly communicate them so that the people around you know where to stop. And I think that one of the most important things through this journey is being able to understand that other people's emotions, other people's reactions to situations are not your responsibility. Sometimes even when you mean something in the purest way, in the most genuine way, and in the kindest way, people can still perceive it as the meanest and the rudest and the worst way possible. So how other people react is definitely not your responsibility. But one of the quotes that I live by says, to err is human, but to forgive is divine. And that is to say that we must always remember that it is almost impossible to not step on anybody's toes. It is human. We are going to step on each other's toes, whether we intend to or we don't intend to. But it is always up to us to forgive when forgiveness is asked for, and to ask for forgiveness when we realize that we have hurt somebody else. But stepping on each other's toes is inevitable, and it is not our responsibility to try and manage or manipulate people's reactions to situations or people's emotions. Sometimes you just can't keep the peace. You can't control what happens, and it's okay. Last but not least, pray about it. Whatever thing happens in your life, pray about it. One thing about God, He is interested and He is willing to answer our prayers. And it is humanly impossible for us to be able to do everything in our control. And we definitely need the help of God and the Holy Spirit. Therefore, pray about it. Ask God to help you to set clearer boundaries. Ask God to help you to be consistent in your boundaries. And you will see what is going to happen. You will see the effects of prayer in your life. Setting boundaries will definitely be awkward for the first time. Like I said in my story, my heart sank, and only after a few days did I feel liberated. It will feel awkward. It will be uncomfortable. It will not feel nice at all. But always remember that if you don't take care of you, then nobody else will. It is important that we care for everybody around us, but we need to also need to take care of ourselves. To conclude this video, I will put a snippet of a video that I saw on TikTok. It's sort of like a poem where it sums up basically what we just spoke about in a very beautiful way. You will go on TikTok and watch the full video. I'll just put a short clip of it, and I hope you do enjoy it. It will be a little bit cut. I think you'll only see like half of her face because of the shooting rules of YouTube, and the shooting rules of TikTok being different. But I really did enjoy this video, and I look forward to hearing your journeys hearing about your journeys of people pleasing, of recovering people pleasing, and of being able to set boundaries, being able to set clear boundaries at that. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next week. Love you loads. Goodbye, dears. Bye.
The thing about being understanding is that you're so good at putting yourself in other people's shoes. No matter how much they let you down, you will always be able to see it from their point of view. People love you because you make it easy for them, you avoid conflict, and they will call you a gem. You're the type to forgive, despite what they did. I'm sorry I made it such a big deal. I should have considered how you would feel. Can't believe I was selfish. It's not all about me. You got a lot going on, a good reason to be gone, so I should understand. Remember? I'm not the type to be mad, remember? So I'll just make another plan and you can say that I'm the man because you've never met anyone who just gets you like I can. Remember? Oh, the thing about being understanding.